Hey, it's Linda. I want to show you how to fussy cut with one of our big templates. I've got the 12.5-inch here, and these templates come with fussy cut frames. Fussy cut frames are, especially when you get to the larger sizes, great for t-shirts and those kinds of things, but they're great with fabrics where you can see a whole lot of beautiful things that you want to frame in. The template itself has the no-slip material on the back, and our fussy cut frame does not. This is just our material that we have on the front of our templates. This is for us to frame out, like a picture frame, what it is that I want. So on my fabrics here, I've got a bunch of seahorses and crabs and those kinds of things. So do I want to frame here? Do I want to frame here? You choose with this frame what it is you want. It's basically like looking at a viewfinder and seeing this is it. Now when we do cut this out, we have to remember we're going to lose 1/4 inch all the way around. When you find what it is you want, if I want this or if I want that seahorse perfectly in the center, do I want him on point? I want you to look right down here. When I put him on point here, you can see with this frame that I can't see my fabric. Now the other thing that you can do too with this to make sure you have exactly what you want, here's a hash mark, here's a hash mark, here's a hash mark, here's a hash mark. If I wanted, see those hash marks there? And you can mark them with one of our metallic Sharpies so you can see those. If I wanted this series of shelves perfectly in the center, I would fold in half, give a good crease, and then I would fold in half and give a good crease. When I have those folds that are there, I'd line up those folds to those lines so I'd get exactly what it is that I want. All right, so I'm gonna go back to here and I've got my 1, 2, 3, those guys there. And I wanna, again, make sure I've got my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm gonna have a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so I'm losing a little bit. This guy is basically in the center. This stays here. In a minute, when I grab this, I'm going to place my hand here. This guy goes inside. I don't plop this down flat. I'm going to take this, hold it, I'm going to put this in at an angle, and I'll let that fall inside. Now I need to remove the fussy cut frame. You can grab like this if you want, and if it doesn't come out easily, then that means you don't have it perfectly centered. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm lifting with the fabric. That allows me to pop that up, and I'm holding this down to make sure I can remove this. This staying in place. Now I've got all this excess fabric over here. You can, if you want to save this fabric without having to cut this off, you can move all of this, grab some clips and clip this up, and you can move all of this together, because when I go to cut, I'm not going to cut like this and then cut like this at a weird angle. I'm going to cut and turn. So we start on the side, and I want to keep all this extra fabric because maybe I do want to use these little guys here. So I'm going to cut. When I get to here, did you notice how my hand started and I moved a little bit further? I'm going to go right to here, and then I'm going to move all of this. I balled this up a little bit so that stays with me. I'm going to position this, and I'm going to again move my hand as I go. When I get to that edge, I'm grabbing my fabric. That way it keeps it all intact. And I'm cutting from my shoulder. Cutting from my shoulder allows me to get perfect cuts every single time. Now see all of this excess that's here? I want to make sure it doesn't put any extra weight on here. And when I go to cut this out, I'm going to get a perfect fussy cut frame. This is removed. Let's get that piece right here. And you can see that gives me that view that I wanted with that 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I still have all of this fabric left for me to then go with another 12.5 on something else, or a different size, even fussy cutting out different shapes, different sizes. It doesn't have to be squares, because we make templates with fussy cuts in a bunch of different shapes. But hopefully that gives you an idea of how to deal with bigger fussy cut frames when you want to get exactly what it is you want with our no slip template and that fussy cut frame for your picture frame.